And for more on this, we're now being joined by Alina Frolova, who's Ukraine's former Deputy Defense Minister. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. First of all, what's the latest you can tell us on the situation with the flooding, with the dam, and are we anywhere closer to knowing who did it?
Well, the latest situation is that we continue evacuation of those people who suffered on the right bank. We unfortunately don't have an access to the left bank, and people are asking for assistance from the left bank, but we cannot reach them. And Russians do not provide the possibility to be evacuated. And as for who did it, obviously this is not Ukrainians, because for us this is like a huge losses of the animals, of the plants, this is like a huge threat on diseases. We have our people suffering, and actually the Russians did it to stop the prognosed offensive which Ukrainian forces are going to have anyway. But they were so afraid of this that they decided to blow up the dam, and that was done in a very silly way.
Alina Frolova, thank you so much for joining us with that perspective. Let's hope something is done.
Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Glenn Deason joining us now from Oslo. He's a professor of international relations at the University of Southeastern Norway. Mr. Deason, thank you so much for joining us. What is your sense of what actually happened with the dam? We just heard the Ukrainians say it was the Russians who blew it up. What are you picking up from the ground?
Well, I guess a simple answer is we don't really know yet. So far, there's been unsubstantiated accusations thrown from both sides, both blaming each other. But without any evidence, I think it mostly reveals biases.
Right. So, you know, if you had to take a guess on what happens now, obviously the biggest concern is around the nuclear reactor. Could there actually be a risk to that, a threat to that?
Of course, the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, it cools down its reactors with the water, which is held back by the dam. So this could create a problem. In terms of what happens next, I think that this will mainly be war in the information space, because both sides are trying to convince the international community that it was the other side. I think that the media, to be honest, have been quite dishonest about this. Lacking from the narrative is the fact that the Washington Post actually reported last year that Ukrainian Major General Andrei Kovalchuk, the officer who oversees the preparation for Ukraine's counteroffensive, he confirmed actually that Ukraine had attacked the floodgates at this dam with American HIMARS missiles. And why? Well, he gave the explicit purpose. It was to flood the river to prevent Russian crossings.
All right, the media wars that are playing out around this, not very clear as to what the actual facts on the ground are, and sometimes it may not be clear for a period of time. Thank you so much for joining us with that particular viewpoint on what might actually be happening here. Thank you so much for joining us.